hard to find your way. In a world that seems to have come undone, seems to have come undone. And I know you've been looking for a change, almost convinced it will never come, never come. Sometimes in a place that is your dark, you begin to know just who you are, know who you are.
And it's our time for Connections Radio Show. And thank you for joining us today on Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us, that gets us thinking, exploring, wondering, going to places that maybe we hadn't thought of before, and making the connection. And I'm glad you've made the connection, and maybe you will be inspired to do just a bit more today because you've made that connection. I have Rick Bernardo, who is my co-host and co-producer, and we love to celebrate the connections that music makes.
We do, all of us in my head and in my heart and in my gut. They love it. And I was listening to the music for today's program, and it struck me again and again how it speaks to our soul. Mm-hmm. It just any kind of music, the rhythm, the melody, it's a whole other language. You don't even need the words.
But the words are good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Words are important. I love them.
But then you add the words and look out,
That's
you know.
Right.
and then you add dancing. Whoa. So anyway, that's a lot of my background is just resonating with that. But the other one, ethics, as I taught university ethics for years, there's a voice of justice going on here. And justice, Cornel West said, justice is what love looks like in public. And justice is just fairness. If we care anything about people, it's essential. So I'm excited.
And our topic today revolves around the sound of blackness. And the Sounds of Blackness performs and proclaims music, culture, and history of African Americans to audiences all over the world. From jazz and blues to rock and roll, rhythm, R&B, gospel, spirituals, hip-hop, reggae, soul, they color each and every sound of blackness with uplifting messages of hope, unity, love, and peace for all humankind. And they work passionately to achieve it. Since January of 1971, the Grammy Award-winning Sounds of Blackness tireless endeavors are under the direction of Gary Hines, who we have today. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you so much, Lori.
Oh, so glad to have you here. You have done so much. Music director and producer of the 3-time Grammy Award-winning Sounds of Blackness. You have done all kinds of cool music, as we just talked about. You've recorded and performed, toured and written for and appeared with Quincy Jones, Jimmy Jam Harris and Terry Lewis, Prince, Usher, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, Aretha Franklin, Elton John, Johnny Gill, Patti LaBelle, Sting, Dolly Parton, and yet there's more, Danny Glover, Jordan Sparks, and there is even more than that. So, oh my gosh, I feel like I've got a room full of musical greats that you have been a part of, and you represent not only yourself, but the Sounds of Blackness, music of the world. And we're just so honored to have you here.
Well, the feeling is very mutual. On behalf of Sounds of Blackness, we thank you and appreciate you.
You've been to 5 continents for everyone from homeless persons to prison inmates, orphans, kings, queens, presidents, ambassadors, diplomats, heads of states. 5 White House appearances. That's quite a trajectory.
Well, thank you very much. This is the 52nd anniversary of Sounds of Blackness. And we had our beginnings, of course, at my alma mater, Macalester College, and originally began in 1969 as the Macalester College Black Voices under the direction of our emeritus founder, Brother Russell Knighton, a native of Beaumont, Texas. And in January of '71, as he was preparing to matriculate, he brought me on as director, and Professor Mahmoud El Kadi, who's the father of the great R&B artist Stokely. A lot of people don't know that, but he's a great professor of African and African American history, was a professor at Macalester at the time. And he implored us, even back then, Lori and Rick, to not just be a band, but to be an institution and a cultural, musical speaking voice for Black America.
And for justice.
Yes.
And it's grown and developed over the years. How would you describe from 1969, when you were starting to think about this as an idea, to where you are now? What are some of the things that you've gleaned over the years?
Well, ironically enough, a lot has not changed, and a lot of the ideas that we had then have actually come to fruition now. But we have emerged from a 50-voice vocal ensemble with 3 musicians to now being a 15-voice vocal ensemble with a 10-piece orchestra, including a 4-piece horn section. So shout out to my horn players. And, continuing the tradition of Sounds of Blackness.
I'd love to hear more of the Hold Up Your Light that we started the segment with. And I'm going to have Patrick play some more of it. And then when we come back out of hearing some more of that sounds, I'd love to have you talk a little bit about that with us.
I'd be happy to.
I know it's been hard to find your way. In a world that seems to have come undone, seems to have come undone. And I know you've been looking for a change. Almost convinced it will never come, never come. Sometimes that is your dark. You begin to know just who you are, know who you are. You'll see all the strength you have inside. Sweep out the ashes in your soul. Find your fire, find your fire, find your fire, and hold up your light, hold up your light, hold up your light. Even when your step becomes a stumble, hold up your light, hold up your light. Waking up to so much uncertainty. Oh yes. And the world is crying. The world is crying. The world is crying out.
So the world's crying now.
And it seems that we've all been constantly searching. Constantly searching. Constantly searching. Searching for solid ground.
For solid ground.
Sometimes in a place that is your dark.
That is your love.
I love that. I love that song.
Yeah.
I
Me
love
too.
I love the fire, finding your fire, and solid ground
Yes.
are the two things that come so powerfully to me with that song.
Written and produced by Sounds of Blackness' own Carrie Harrington.
Shout out.
Shout out to Carrie Harrington, who's a little under the weather, so extra shout out to Carrie. But
Oh, thank you.
We love you, Carrie.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, we do. That was her on lead vocals as well, along with our assistant director Billy Steele. You probably know that name.
The
of
Steele
Steeles,
family.
right?
They've done some pretty amazing things as well.
And Carrie not only wrote and produced the song, but she directed the video, which recently was nominated for an Upper Midwest Emmy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Congratulations. I've heard about it being played in the Mississippi Delta.
Yes.
Wait a minute. that is a strong sound of the South, which is great to hear.
Word on the Delta.
Yes, we're
Yes.
on the Delta front.
We're blessed with a very excellent radio promoter who happens to be with us here this morning. None other than
He's playing the silent support today.
yes, Brother Scott.
Thank you, Scott Harold.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks
we knew
for-
we'd get you in there so
Talk
much.
about connections.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Yeah, it's WLOK out of Memphis. They broadcast that song on a regular basis all throughout the Mississippi Delta Valley, and it's become a regional hit, and rightly so.
Yes.
I just love it. So when we were putting this together and bringing this to life, tell me how the group felt about this song and how they celebrated it with you.
Sounds of Blackness very excited about Hold Up Your Light, and rightfully so. And Carrie actually presented it to us in stages as she was continuing to finalize the writing and production process of it. So we got it early on where she brought us the chorus first and then the bridge and the verses kind of thing.
So did you practice them along the way with the,
Oh,
just a
absolutely.
little
Yes.
pieces?
Yeah, so the pre-production process for Hold Up Your Light became incorporated as a part of our vocal rehearsals, and Carrie very wisely and did a great job with that.
That's wonderful. Your music you have taken to causes, and causes have brought you in to help, create a sense of the power of music. And you've performed for programs. I know that you've been part of the Children's Heart Fund, the Lupus Foundation, the United Negro College Fund, Scholarship America. It goes on and on. Hurricane Katrina, you were down there for that. Tsunami fundraisers, participation in the Grammy schools. So many different things that people resonate with your music and want your music to be part of their celebrating of their cause and their needs. How does that feel? How does music help support that social justice in so many different ways?
Well, so I was saying we were off the air, Lori. Music has always been in the vanguard, and artists have always been in the vanguard of movements for social justice, for causes, back as far as history, and in more recent history, there's the Harry Belafontes of the world who artistically and financially funded much of the support for Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. So there are so many prime examples of artists being in the vanguard, in the forefront with their music. The late, great Billie Holiday, many people, when they hear her name, they think of God Bless the Child, and we get that. But she would have been the first to tell you that her theme song was Strange Fruit, about lynching. In fact, to the degree that she literally had it written in her contracts because the government had banned the playing of Strange Fruit, but Sister wasn't having it. She actually
You
had,
like my music?
Yes.
You like Strange Fruit.
And she
And you have it
actually
included.
literally had it, Lori and Rick, written in her contract that she had to perform Strange Fruit. It had to be at the end of the show. There could be no serving or movement during. There needed to be a tight spot. I mean, she had specifics about it. And so despite the government ban, she really prevailed.
Had the story be told.
Yes.
The story would not be silent.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. And that's such a good lesson for us during this time when there's so much trying to be silent, trying to silence.
Yes.
How do we hold on to the truth? How do we hold on through music
Yes.
to share that story?
And there's nothing like taking a stand for what's fair and just there's, when I say nothing like it, counter to other sort of social sayings and a lot of money behind saying it's really about productivity, it's about materials, it's about this, it's about sales. Centuries and centuries of wisdom say there's nothing like taking a stand for love and justice. Nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
And with that, we'll close this segment. It's a great way to sum up the power of how music can make a difference and how music can wake us up. Which we'll hear in a song during this program today. So thank you. We're going to be right back after just a few commercials to keep us going. And our next one, we're going to look at sort of a global perspective. So stay with us. It's going to be some great music.
You see all the strength you have inside. Everybody's talking about woke ain't woke. We all got to be woke. Arise, raise up, we got to have a wake up. Eyes, wake up, we got to be woke, woke. Say it loud, I'm woke and I'm proud. Say it loud, I'm woke and I'm proud.
Say it loud, I'm woke and I'm proud. Good morning. And welcome to the Connections Radio Show. If you have just joined us, we are celebrating the sounds of Blackness, and they perform and proclaim music, culture, and history of African Americans to audiences all over the world. I have Rick Bernardo as my co-host and co-producer, and we have the amazing Gary Hines, who is the director of Sounds of Blackness. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Lori and Rick.
Isn't that fun music?
It is.
Isn't that the way to wake up in the morning?
It's just a shame that your listeners and followers couldn't see you and Rick grooving to it.
Well, actually, they can. We do have.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, if they have to look in the right place, though.
That's
you know.
right. That's right. That's right.
But I'm totally re-woke, though.
I love that. I love that music.
Oh, thank you.
Gary Hines, you have performed in every major city in the United States, abroad in Africa, England, Holland, Switzerland, France, Germany, Italy, Portugal, Japan, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, Bermuda, Jamaica, Martinique, the Bahamas. Amazing. Washington, D.C. recently said that the sounds of, it's the Washington, D.C. in the name of the, help me, Scotty. Go
Washington
ahead.
Informer, which is a black-owned, black-woman media corporation in Washington, D.C. that serves that entire tri-state area. Yeah, okay, well, I'm Sounds of Blackness's radio reporter. I
Yes,
Scott
he
Harold
is.
here, Rock the Cause Records. If you follow me.
There we go.
I've been trying to be silent and make it about
and we won't let
Gary.
you. And we won't let you.
But, you know, I got to bring this up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Washington Informer, which is a very important black publication based out of Washington, D.C. that serves the African-American community out there. They call, in their publication, Sounds of Blackness, America's Voice of Protest.
Yeah.
What an amazing honor.
Yeah.
America's Voice of Protest. I think that's very true.
And you've taken it, as I said, all over the world. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you about, and then I want to go back to listen to more woke music because I love it. One of the questions I want to ask you about is
Thank you.
the barriers to community. Even woke is something that there are people in our community, in our country that make fun of and are no longer accepting as something that is absolutely amazing and allows us to grow and allows us to connect.
Yes.
But there's some that are afraid of that word and create barriers instead of finding openings. So I'm curious. I know we all are feeling more barriers probably today, or maybe that we are reliving the barriers that we faced in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's part of that cycle of being able to experience it, to say no and move on to something better and greater. Do you find that the barriers are similar around the world, or is there different kinds of barriers that emerge that you help address by going to all these wonderful places all over the world?
Lori, I find primarily the former, that the barriers tend to have more in common than they do differences. And the common solution from my perspective, is history. As Professor Mahmoud would say, we can't know where we're going unless we know where we are, and we can't know where we are unless we know where we've been. And as it relates to woke, especially, the bastardization of woke by Ron DeSantis, who I call Ron DeSatan, and the misappropriation of that word, especially acknowledging again where history comes in, that being woke, being aware of your circumstances, of your position, politically, geographically, all of that, was a matter of life and death for African Americans. So that's why we say in the song, it ain't no joke, we gotta be woke, because if you didn't know where you could and couldn't go, where sundown towns were and weren't, it could cost you your life. To be lynched, to be jailed, to be beaten, or all of the above. So woke needed an anthem, and Sounds of Blackness attempted to do that with this song, Woke. But if you don't know that history, then you don't have that perspective.
And isn't it interesting that same gentleman is trying to ban history being told?
Precisely. So you see that the two go hand in hand. But and a lot of times woke is being spoken of like it's a new concept, but the concept goes back to the 1800s. In fact, originally, and it's always been related to the African American experience at its roots. There was a squadron of African American and white soldiers who protected Abraham Lincoln during his campaign, because he was getting death threats then. Talking about letting the enslaved Africans go free, and they call themselves the Awake Squad.
Did they? I did not know that.
The Awake. So it goes, and then going back is 1927. The great blues artist Scotty. Hughie Ledbetter, known better as Leadbelly, had a song called "We Gotta Be Woke, Y'all." The next century, the great Marcus Garvey of the UNIA, the UN Universal Negro Improvement Association, and the Back to Africa movement, told everyone we gotta be woke. Okay, gotta be aware of your circumstances, be aware. And so there's history with woke, and if you know that, then you'll give it that respect and proper perspective.
And that power.
Sure.
And it's sacred history. I would say it's sacred history. If anything is important to you as a human being, if you have any kind of soul at all, and to hold that up and pervert it, to pervert it intentionally, it's vile.
It is.
I like the idea of us being asleep and needing to wake up. Because what does that's underlying it all? What is it about sleep that takes us away from being present, from making that connection, and being in the moment that that woke gives you, and that first, when your eyes wake up, when you open your eyes, that waking up in the morning, that realization of, oh, this is day,
Yes.
So how can that also be, oh, this is day, this is day, this is where I get to be, and not just sleepwalk, and not just be in another sort of quiet reality.
And I know I wake up always feeling like, oh, I'm not ready for this, number one. But what gets me out of bed is the possibility of doing something for people.
Yes.
And then I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yes.
Gary mentioned sundown towns, and for our listeners out there who want a woke moment, go look up what a sundown town is or was. And good morning, Edina and Wyzetta. You were once sundown towns, and I don't think the laws were ever taken off your books.
How about that? So it wasn't just Mississippi; it was also Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Right here in the Twin Cities, we had sundown towns. Yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah, there have been heartbreaks in Minnesota. In all kinds of ways. There's we have the Minnesota nice that people like to think of us as. It's nice, but if we were also nice, we probably would not have had a murder that changed the world. I mean, I'm glad George Floyd's death meant something, and that could change how we look at ourselves
Yes.
and how we want to connect with each other. But we've been at the heart of a lot of challenges. And I know that we're looking at reuniting Rondo.
Yes.
When the 50s and 60s highways came through and tore apart communities, more arbitrarily or perhaps intentionally. Probably intentionally.
It was deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's fear that I think that's at the bottom of a lot of those. I mean, all throughout, it's always been about fear. How does music overcome fear? How does it give us hope? How does it go beyond us cowering and being able to step up and be more?
Well, more than being human beings having a spiritual experience, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And music is spirit. As Stevie Wonder says, music is the universal language. And so what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And I know with Rick being an ethics professor, that he knows that very well. But that's why music was in the vanguard of the movements with the civil rights movement, We Shall Overcome, with the Black Power and Pride movement, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, James Brown and Aretha Franklin, To Be Young, Gifted and Black, and Donny Hathaway, Take It From Me, One Day We'll All Be Free. Because music, there's a lot of programs, a lot of great efforts, legally, academically, and they're necessary, but they don't reach in places in the spirit and the soul to the degree that music does.
I've talked with other musicians that also have a commitment to making change. And it always amazes me that when I am singing or I'm part of music, I am not afraid. I'm just not afraid. There's something that happens that's as spiritual as you say, that
Yes.
takes you to a different place, that gives you that sense of belonging. That this music connects and I belong to the words, the ideas, the hope. And I think it moves us in ways that we may not even understand and opens us up to thinking in ways we might not understand. But we're open to new ideas, I think. It allows us to at least be creatively called into listening to those ideas.
Called, yeah.
Yes.
It's like we're riding on some other waves, riding or floating, or where it depends on the music,
Well, I'd like to spend the last, the next, before we need to go to segment, I'd like to hear more of Woke and have that carry us out of this segment. And then we'll go into, I can't believe our last segment is going to be right after a set of commercials, but I so love celebrating Woke, and I'd love to have that be replayed.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Centuries of slavery and
Connections Radio Show, and you're getting a little preview of a show we're going to be doing in the future. we're going to do the whole time for reparations as a whole radio show, and we'll plan that with Gary. And we just were talking about that.
Awesome.
And in the break there, so you're just going to get a little taste of what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, just another great song. That's all. Just that goes deep and wide.
That's right.
And we're talking about if you're halfway aware or woke, then you're human and you care about making things good, making things right.
That's
which
right. And this is Connections Radio Show, and I'm your host, Lori Fitz, and I've got my co-host, Rick Bernardo, and we have been celebrating the Sounds of Blackness, which performs and proclaims music, culture, and history of African Americans to audiences all over the world. And we have Gary Hines, who has, through his tireless endeavors, directed this for many years, starting in 1969.
71, actually.
Oh, 71, but
Right,
69
right.
is when it was planted in your heart.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, we're counting the days.
That's right. That's right. And we've been listening to the music. We've been having Gary share with us his insights and how music makes a difference. How music allows us to get woke.
Yes, and to inspire and motivate. So Sounds of Blackness, as you can tell with these songs of late, has been in and is in what I call anthem mode. And our current inspirational anthem is by our own Jamesia Bennett, who also wrote and produced You're Gonna Win. So that's uplifting and motivational.
Let's listen to that. Let's listen to You're Gonna Win.
You're gonna win.
I want to listen to that. So we're going to have that, and then we'll come back and hear more about the Sounds of Blackness.
The blackness.
Come on, y'all.
Never say die. Hashtag you're gonna win. Come on.
When you feel like you just can't go on, feeling like you're all alone, that's when you reach way down in your soul, find the strength that you need to keep going, going.
I know that this here life sometimes can get tough. Saying to yourself, I wanna give up, but know that there's a change that's coming. Just believe in yourself. You're gonna make it up from it. From the mountaintops to the valley low, remember the dream. Hand in hand with a woman that don't give up, just try. Make it, keep your head up to the sky. Tell you why. Hashtag you're gonna win, believe it.
Those times you felt like all your hope was gone, threw your hands up and said, God, I'm on my own. And then a blessing shows up out of nowhere. Then you say to yourself, He answered my prayer.
Don't you give up, don't you ever give in. Don't give in. It's your time to stand and say, I can. Hold on to your faith and believe. Your dreams are so possible. Don't stop, you're gonna succeed. You just got to believe in yourself and be strong. You're gonna be alright. Oh, you're gonna be okay. Don't you worry yourself. Be strong. Hold on. Don't worry, no. Just hold on.
Love that song. And the things that come out for me are believe in yourself.
Yes.
You're going to win. Blessings show up. I love that. And
Yes.
stand up and say you can.
That's at the heart of Jamesia and her expression. She's just a force of nature, and that comes through in her writing as you're expressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ties into all that we've been talking about. You know, how do we all stand up? How do we all wake up? How do we all take what we know and feel and believe and sing?
Yes, and Jamesia also directed and produced the You're Gonna Win video, which all of your wonderful followers here can see on YouTube, and for videos for all of those songs that we heard, Hold Up Your Light, You're Gonna Win, Time for Reparations, and Woke.
I want to make sure that everyone knows how to get to your website, soundsofblackness.org.
Yes.
Fabulous website. What I like about the website as well is it shares about events coming up, a little background about who you all are, music. So you've got some events coming up. And I want to make sure in this segment we let people know how you can participate with your music live and in person here in the Twin Cities.
Well, that first opportunity, Laurie and Rick, will be this coming Wednesday, November 15th at 6 o'clock out at TPT, and it's the 30-year celebration of Rondo restoration. And Scott and HSRA are involved in that process as well, beyond just this event.
The Reconnecting Rondo.
The Reconnecting Rondo, yes.
Land bridge. We're going to make a land bridge eventually, aren't we, in the Reconnecting Rondo?
You know, I'm going to tell you what, there is so much movement and support happening there. It would take the entire segment to talk about it, but you know what? It's going to happen.
Yeah, it is. Cutting to the chase. We're going to make it happen.
You know?
I love it. Now, you're also going to be at the Minnesota History Museum. Tell me about that on November 27th.
We are honored beyond words to sing for the investiture of Chief Justice Natalie Hudson, who's a longtime family friend, like for years and years, and we're so proud of you, Natalie. Chief Justice Natalie, excuse me.
There we go.
And that investiture, fancy word for installation, for those that may not know, but that will happen on November 30th, 3 o'clock at the Minnesota History Center. And so it's about her that day. We're just blessed to provide, a song or two for the occasion.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Now, you have something else coming up in Eagan. Tell me what that is.
Yes. Sounds of Blackness are just so honored and elated to have our single Woke and another song called Healing featured in the forthcoming independent movie called Black Skin, based on the events of George Floyd and Philando Castile, right here, filmed here in Minneapolis, director Mark Casey, and that premiere will be on November 30th, 6 o'clock at the Imagine Theater in Eagan.
Yeah.
So we're inviting the public to come out to that premiere. None of the actors are coming in from New York and L.A. They'll be there to sign posters and autographs and all that. Have a good time, see a great movie, and have a reception afterwards.
Oh, it sounds like a wonderful time. How do you get connected with some of? Do people just approach you? Do they get through the website? What's the best way if folks are like so excited, like, oh, I want the Sounds of Blackness with what we're doing, whether we're a cause or a corporation? I know like General Mills has had you in the past and be celebrating all kinds of cool things. What's the best way for people to go, I want to book that group?
Directly through our website, because our management information is there, all our information. So if it's a radio issue, then of course Scott's information is there, Scott Harold, who's here with us today. And also our merchandise can be purchased there. A lot of people have asked because they see us wearing it in the videos, where can I get that? And right at the site. And and they can purchase our music there as well, all the songs that you just heard. And when you go to the site, as opposed to, we don't discourage people going to iTunes and Amazon and all that, but when you purchase it from our site, we don't just talk the walk, we walk the talk. So we donate a portion of the proceeds to the George Floyd Scholarship Foundation.
Wonderful. Well, you've got a shirt on if you're watching on Facebook, or if you're watching late. You've got the Woke Sound of Blackness, which is a wonderful way to celebrate not only the sounds of blackness, but waking up ourselves and being able to be proud about, wearing that we're working on woke.
I like that. That's another T-shirt right there, Laurie.
There's all kinds of levels of consciousness, right?
And speaking of celebrating sounds of blackness, I would be remiss if I didn't say, this coming June, we will be blessed to, in concert with the 150th anniversary of Macalester College, their sesquicentennial. Say that fast 5 times.
I'm impressed.
Right.
Just at the one.
Right. But that will be June of this year, and also the 50th anniversary or reunion of my class, the class of 74, and we couldn't do a full-blown Sounds 50th anniversary with COVID restrictions a couple of years ago.
Sure.
So all of that, we're going to celebrate Sounds of Blackness 50th anniversary in concert with McAllister's 150th this coming June at our alma mater, McAllister College. So
Is that going to be open for the public?
yes,
And that's we'll post that, but it's sometime in June.
that will be, I believe the date is June 9th.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. I'm putting that in my calendar.
Thank
Just
you.
saying.
A shout out to McAllister.
Well, I have one final question for you to be sharing us, thinking about with us, and that's how it has impacted you personally over the years. You've been part of this, longer than most people commit to their career and their calling. My guess is that over the years you've been touched in certain ways. What is the impact of the Sound of Blackness on you, Gary?
Well, the impact on me, Lori and Rick and Scotty is motivation and sustenance. I believe that this is my life's calling kind of thing, hence the 52 years, only by the grace of God and by the support of wonderful singers and musicians of Sounds of Blackness, and the support of people like you, because, there's a scripture that says, how will they hear without a preacher? Well, when it comes to music, how will they hear without a DJ, without a 9:50 a.m.? And so we thank you on behalf of Sounds of Blackness, but it's been motivation and inspiration and sustenance for me.
Well, you are the blessing. When we heard in that last song about blessings show up, Gary Hines has been a blessing not only to the Sounds of Blackness, but to the Twin Cities and to the world, and bringing music and anthems and ideas and history, music as a teacher. I think of your Juneteenth song as well. We didn't play it today, but so many people don't know what Juneteenth is. They go, well, we've got a holiday now. Well, what is it?
Right.
And something to do with Civil War, and they don't realize it was like a year after the Civil War was
Right.
over that Texas finally let folks know that, oh, by the way, you are free.
Which is why we put the explanatory lyrics in the body of the song.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Juneteenth is featured on your, you can go to the website and listen to that. And there's other songs
Yes.
too there that folks want to listen to. I know Rick wants to say something.
I'm just inspired the heck out of it, of myself. But the word inspire means to bring to life. And when it happens for me, I want to bring it all around the world, and so it's like not me or you. It's like everybody gets to have more life. So thank you. That's what this is all about. And we're so inspired by
and
you and the music.
And I'm also going to thank Scotty. I know we dragged Scotty in.
We did.
Want to come in. But Scotty has a lot of heart.
Yes, he does.
And,
Thank you.
And Scotty's been doing this work also to give back
Thank you.
and to work with communities and to make a difference.
Yeah, it's an honor to work with Brother Gary. He and I have we've done 10 campaigns together
Yes.
now.
Oh.
We've put Sounds of Blackness music on a lot of radio stations. And there's job training behind it too. The High School for Recording Arts students make anywhere from $12 an hour to $15 an hour, hand working Sounds of Blackness's music to radio stations across America. And those 16, 17-year-old kids get interviews with the BBC, and they get
Yes, they do.
top 40 airplays. So
True
it's-
story.
It's a beautiful thing. So it's an honor. It's a blessing to be able to do this work with Gary. It's very important
And it
work.
builds community.
Absolutely.
It builds the next generation of
Yep.
media artists themselves
Yeah.
to be supporting this. We did feature some wonderful students that you've been working with as well, that are working on reconnecting Rondo. And it all kind of ties together. It's all
Yes,
about
yes, it does.
building, rebuilding. Sometimes I think we get frustrated because it seems like being woke moves us forward, and then we fall asleep again.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes into reverse. And then when we wake up, maybe it gets a little bit further ahead, but then there's that sleep. So I guess it's a natural evolution
Yes.
of starts and stops. I kept dreaming about a time where we don't have to stop or go into reverse, and that we could just keep going. But your music keeps us going.
Well, thank you. That's the goal. I mean, Grammys and all of that are great blessings, and we're thankful for them.
3 of them.
But my point in bringing that up is that while those are wonderful validations of our art on the professional side, nothing beats what you just said in terms of having life impact directly on people, or when people come up to us in an airport away from cameras and all of that, and say, "I was contemplating suicide, and I heard your music, and it saved my life." I mean, as the beer commercial says, it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah. And to know that your music has reached all over the world.
We say and we mean, Lori, Rick, and Scott, that Sounds of Blackness brings the music of the black experience to people of all backgrounds. And so that's a testament to that. So we thank you.
And it's a testament to the dream.
Yes.
The dream goes on.
It does.
The dream has power. And what started with Martin's dream becomes our dream.
Dream and vision, and there's another scripture that says, where there's no vision, the people perish. And so this is the vision.
We'll dream, we'll have vision, and we're going to wake up. And we're going to nudge others to wake up and enjoy being woke, because there's a celebration in being woke.
And a Juneteenth celebration, we hear.
Yes. So, you've got Juneteenth going? Oh, good. Bring that up. I'm so glad we got to work in Juneteenth as well.